Why you need to read this book if you are serious about financial independence and dream of retiring early. If there was just one book that I could recommend that you read today that would completely transform your financial future, it would be this book. Let me share with you why you need to read it, how much it will help you, and exactly how it is going to revolutionize the way that you invest and give you back so much time, freedom, and better, stronger financial independence. Welcome back, everyone, to Sugar Mama's Fireplay, the podcast that ignites your financial journey with inspiring stories and innovative strategies. I am your host, financial planner, Canna Campbell, also known as Sugar Mama. And today we are talking about one of my favorite financial books that has not only changed the way that I invest personally, but also has helped catapult my financial planning business and helping so many other people in Australia and around the world with their own investing journey, going strength to strength. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I am in fact so confident that you will enjoy this book so much that I am willing to personally guarantee it. And no, this episode is not sponsored in any way whatsoever. And in fact, I have never been gifted this book, even though I have bought multiple copies. But I promise you, if you read this book, any value from it, you don't learn anything from it, I will personally refund you the $29.95 plus postage. That is how confident I am. All right, so now that I have completely raised the benchmark of expectations here, what book am I talking about exactly? Well, Motivated Money by Peter Thornhill. As you know, I've had Peter not just on this podcast channel, Sugar Mama's Fireplay, but also on my other podcast, How Do They Afford That?, which I co-host with Michael Thompson from Fear and Greed. All three episodes, which were pretty much published back to back, created this incredible flurry of curiosity, motivation, and empowerment. I received so many DMs on Instagram. And if you haven't listened to these, I'm going to go and link these in the podcast notes so that you can quickly and easily locate them and listen to them straight away, because they are pure gold. Now, if you did listen to these episodes and absolutely love them, and you want to learn more about what Peter is talking about, or perhaps you just want to start applying what Peter is talking about, which I should say for the record is how he is a self-funded retiree with over $10 million in his share portfolio, paying him a passive income of over $400,000 a year when he only really started properly investing in his early 50s. Then you need to go and invest in this book today. Now, to help prepare you, I'm going to do a bit of a background brief because I really want to help set the scene so that you can put everything into context and so that the impact, the insight, and the inspiration that comes from reading this book hits you in the right type of way. Because I will warn you, the cover of this book is a little bit dull, dry, and boring. As much as I love Peter, this book cover does no service to him whatsoever. So don't be turned off by the cover. There is so much juice, inspiration, insight, and advice in the meat of this book. So first of all, who is this book suited to? Young people? Is it for retirees? Is it for people who are approaching retirement, or people who are trying to pay off their home loan, or people who are just trying to keep their head above water? Well, here's my answer. This book, Motivated Money, is suited to anyone who wants to get ahead financially. This book is for anyone that has a superannuation account and wants to make sure that their superannuation money is invested for their long-term financial future and benefit. This book is for anyone who wants their money working for them rather than them working for money for the rest of their lives. This book is for anyone who wants a comfortable retirement with a growing, diversified income stream. This book is for anyone who wants to learn about investing outside of property. This book is for anyone who wants to build a diversified share portfolio but doesn't know how and doesn't know where to start. This book is for anyone who likes the sound of an investment where you don't have to chip in. When I say chip in, put your hand in your pocket and help cover the running costs for that particular investment each year. This book is for anyone who wants to keep their investment strategy nice and easy and simple. This book is for anyone who is time poor and is someone who wants to actually save tax in a legal way. And finally, this book is for anyone that is ready to invest in an intelligent, efficient, and wise way that is backed by evidence, facts, laws, and has a proven track record in black and white. So if you can resonate with any of these desires that I just listed, I think I just listed 10 of them, you really should be reading this book, Motivated Money. Okay, I'm going to really say from the deepness of my heart, it's because of my concerns for your financial well-being. My concerns are that, and I could be wrong, so let me know, but my concerns are that your existing investment strategy could be lacking perhaps some efficiency for future wealth creation opportunities, which includes that important element of legal tax efficiency. I'm also concerned that you might be making huge, important investment decisions with only half the information that you need. I'm also concerned that you could perhaps do with a bit of a fresh perspective based on facts, history, and evidence, rather than clickbait media headlines, to help you make better informed, educated decisions with that hard-earned money. And then finally, and this is my biggest concern, and it's also my biggest concern for me and my family, and that is potentially, quite possibly, wasting precious time and risking huge regret. Huge regret where you go, I wish I knew about this. I wish I did this. Why didn't I do this? So that is why you need to read this book today. So what exactly is Peter Thornhill going to show you through this book? Well, he's going to show you lots of things, lots of eye-opening things, lots of inspiring things, and at times it's going to feel quite confronting, a little bit uncomfortable even. He's going to really challenge you through this book. However, these are just some of the important topics that he covers in this book and how they're going to help you become a better investor. So the first thing is he talks about the dangers of comparisons that you need to be aware of. Your barometer or comparison tool needs to be something of value when it comes to comparing different investments and making statements. So a classic example that Peter refers to and I read and listen and see and hear all the time is when people defend property and they say, hey, Kata, you make this statement about the share market, but I bought this property for, X dollars, and 7 years later, it's now worth this amount. Now, that is a return of X percentage over the last 7 years. How can you possibly say that this could be beaten? Property is the best investment ever. Now, whilst there may be completely, perfectly correct in their statements and their facts, those numbers are really surface level numbers. What are you comparing those numbers and those percentages and those breakdowns against a similar asset with a similar risk, a similar time frame, and a similar quality and characteristic in order to be able to make that? For example, over the last 30 years, the S&P All Ords have returned on average 9.2% per annum. So if you had invested $10,000 back in 1993, it would actually be worth over $123,000 today, assuming that you took a simple set and forget, no trading, and reinvested your income. In fact, that number would be substantially higher if you had not used the All Odds Index, but actually had looked at using an industrial index, such as, a listed investment company. So those numbers are actually really quite conservative. But just sticking to the All Odds for this conservative example, you could call it, that is 12.3 times your initial investment over the last 30 years. How many properties out there have grown in value where they are 12.3 times what they purchased for originally when you factor in the stamp duty, the holding costs such as strata, council rates, water, insurance, property manager, marketing, wear and tear, special strata levies, maybe for some, maybe some land tax. How many properties can you say have returned that? I think you're going to be hard-pressed. And of course, that is including money that you spent upgrading and renovating and improving that property, because that's still an expense to have that property. So this is where I find that people kind of conveniently compare against something of a lesser quality to make their statement have a bigger impact. So this is where Peter really peels back the layers and allows you to see firsthand the truth and the reality when it comes to comparing investments, or how to compare assets, different assets, fairly and accurately, to give you greater insight as to what might be best for you and your hard-earned money. The second valuable insight from Motivated Money is the importance of growing passive income streams. By investing in assets or businesses that have growth in the earnings, and this means that the income that you get paid via those dividends every 6 months from these businesses continues to grow as the value and the success of the business grows. And this is, by the way, completely regardless of dividend reinvestment or you having to physically invest more money into that particular investment over time. So if you are someone who really does worry about inflation and the eroding effects of inflation and, of course, the rising cost of living with that, and also, more importantly, for people who are approaching retirement or running out of money, I should say, during retirement, you need to understand the value of the growth characteristic in the income for your long-term financial goals around passive income. Peter then goes on, once he's done this and made you aware of this, and he shows you about the damage and destruction of holding too much cash over the long run. Now, to demonstrate the severity of this asset deteriorating away over the long run, he includes plenty of really easy to read charts and tables and graphs. Now, that is not to say he says never hold cash, not at all. He says hold cash, but hold the right amount of cash for you and your short-term or even some medium-term needs. And then, of course, obviously, it goes without saying, emergency money. But holding too much cash can actually really hinder your potential long-term capital growth and passive income. He also goes in to expose the damage and destruction of the media. The media has a huge impact on our investment decisions. Even if we actually don't really read those articles, we get really caught up in those clickbait headline titles. And as a result of this, whether we read the stories or not, this can very easily turn us into irrational, emotional, petulant investors, which can often trigger these knee-jerk reactions based on information that is at times inaccurate, really subjective to a fleeting moment in time, and has a completely different end result than what was written at the time of that article. So you understand how to, turn down the news and how and where to be selective as to where you choose to get your information from and how that can actually hinder or help your long-term financial goals and wealth creation strategy. And in fact, Peter is quite cute what he says. He says he doesn't actually really watch the news as such. He doesn't really play with his portfolio depending on what the media is saying, but instead he plays with his wife. And he takes his wife around the world jet-setting to all these incredible, amazing destinations year after year. Now, if you're not inspired yet, Peter continues on to show you the difference between investing in the indexes, such as the All Odds, versus investing in industrial-based funds, such as listed investment companies. Now, the difference in the long-term returns between these two very similar asset classes is quite profound. And I would say this is probably the most important thing you need to learn and understand and take away from reading this book, Industrial Funds and Industrial Investments. And knowing this and understanding this and applying this in the right type of way for your financial situation and those deadlines and those dreams and goals could mean the difference between you retiring as a millionaire or, even better, a multi-millionaire, which is what I really, truly hope for you and everyone listening to my podcast, Sugar Mama's Fireplay. And then finally, Peter breaks down franking credits. He explains what they are and how they work, and best of all, how they actually put your tax dollars back in your pocket for you to enjoy and not the ATO. And because of this, it actually gives you a really fabulous boost on your passive income, particularly during retirement. And there is no effort required by you. In fact, if you go and find any self-funded retiree that relies on their diversified share portfolio of industrial shares that pay dividends with franking credits, ideally 100% franking credits, they will tell you how valuable they are and how much they enjoy getting a tax refund from this. In fact, I had a client when I had my financial planning practice, SAS Financial, and this particular client got over $75,000 a year refunded to him every single year, and it's probably even more so now, just from franking credits. So imagine getting a tax-free bonus of $75,000 a year. This is the power and the importance of having franking credits included in your portfolio over the long run. And yes, this book is not just this conspiracy or philosophy or, I guess, wish or hope or dream. Everything that Peter talks about in Mindful Money is backed by cold, hard evidence, facts and figures, charts and graphs. And when you look at these, you kind of like get lost in a world. You'll just stare at them unbelievably and just read and read and read. And it will leave you understanding why industrials could quite possibly end up being the lifeblood of your long-term financial freedom and independence. So I'm pretty passionate about this very valuable tool for you. And guess what? I know I dissed the cover of this book because if you have a look at what it is, it's like an egg in a cardboard box with a tick. Yes, I know the cover is dull and boring, but there is nothing dull and boring in this book. It is actually really easy to read. You could read this on a flight. You could read this over a weekend. You could read just a few pages each night before you fall asleep. However, I'm going to give you a word of warning. If you read it at night, you'll have trouble putting it down because you'll be so inspired and motivated. It'll get your brain ticking that you'll have trouble with all the excitement and motivation, inspiration and ideas Peter gives you from this book. You may have trouble actually switching off and falling asleep. So be aware. And I have to say, I may have made this episode sound a little bit intimidating by using terminology such as franking credits and industrial shares and the all ords, but Peter is not intimidating at all. He explains everything really clearly and really easily. He cuts out all the unnecessary, intimidating, complicated terminology and stupid jargon that wastes space in a book and makes everything really relatable. He gives you practical exercises and it's incredibly inspiring. This book will completely transform your perspective when it comes to your investing decisions, making your cash flow work for you and being more mindful with your cash flow, living within your means, and of course, understanding and using your resources of time, leverage, and growing financial intelligence to your financial advantage. So if you really want 2024 to be an empowering one for you, please make sure that you invest time learning about the power of industrial shares over the long run, the simplicity and the ease of listed investment companies, and the profound power and impact of growing passive income streams through two-dimensional assets. This is a book which I say with my hand on my heart that will challenge you, it will confront you, but will make you not want to put it down. And you will not want to lend this book to any family or friends. Why? Because you're not going to get it back. Trust me, I have just purchased my 16th copy, and no, I'm not going to lend it to you because I love, value, use, and appreciate Motivated Money by Peter Thornhill far too much to not have it close by my side at all times. When it comes to me working on building, saving, hustling, manifesting, investing in my own long-term financial freedom and independence. So you can see how serious I am about this and sharing this incredible resource with you and for you. Now, that is it for today's episode on Sugar Mama's Fireplay. Thank you so much for listening in and being a part of this. Promise me that you are staying motivated as we launch into 2024, making sure that you remain empowered. And of course, you keep that financial fire burning brightly inside you as you work on your own exciting, liberating, and of course, fabulous financial goals and dreams for 2024. I am your host, financial planner, Canna Campbell, Sugar Mama. Until next Monday at 5 a.m., this is Sugar Mama's Fireplay. Ciao for now.